Welcome to Six Figure Trucker, the podcast where we share advice on how to be successful in trucking and have fun while doing so. We'll share stories, news, and advice on how to earn six figures in trucking, and we'll speak to guys and gals that are already doing so. Let's get to the show.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Six Figure Trucker, brought to you by Norton Transport. And we thank each and every one of you for joining us each week. And if you do join us, you know this is a format where we elevate and celebrate the drivers of Norton Transport. We have one joining us with us now from the Show Me State, Alonzo Johnson. How are you, Alonzo?
I'm doing great.
That's good to hear. I appreciate you joining us here. You're in Raytown, Missouri, and we had talked before we got on the air here. You're in a good mood because of the Chiefs' victory last night.
Oh, yeah. Always good when they win.
Now, you were telling me earlier that Raytown is a suburb of Kansas City?
Yeah, I'm not. And matter of fact, I'm about 5 minutes from the stadium.
Okay. Do you get to go to many games?
I only go to preseason games.
It's expensive to go to a game.
Even preseason now has gotten very expensive.
Yeah, that's tough. Now, Mahomes had a good game last night. I've got him as my quarterback in the fantasy league. I've gotten off to a rough start in my fantasy league, but I've got Jared Goff as my second quarterback, and I had to make a decision. Am I going to play Jared or am I going to play Mahomes? I just had a good gut feeling that Mahomes is going to have a good game last night, particularly since the Chiefs had dropped a couple of games and they were at home.
Right. I was very happy to see them look like their mid-season performance last year and not the ending performance. There was a lot of distractions, and they're starting to get their team back healthy and get them back together. And we get our number one wide receiver back after this week from his 6-game suspension with the league. So that should be very interesting.
Yeah, that's a lot more firepower coming back for the Chiefs there. Well, let's switch gears and talk a little bit about your profession as a truck driver. You came into the office last week, and I got to say, it was like a rock star came in. The whole dispatch team came over, surrounded you. Some of our managers came over and surrounded you. That's got to make you feel good to have that kind of welcoming.
Yes, that was actually not a bad feeling. Because I don't get to come in that often.
I was going to ask you, is that the first time you've been by the office?
No. That's only I've been there about a year, and that's only like my third time. So,
okay, were you on the way from a run that put you close to us?
Well, actually, I dropped off a truck there at the office.
Okay,
that's cabin chassis from McConkey, Pennsylvania, and dropped it off there and picked up a trash truck out of Chattanooga and went back up to Illinois.
I got you. So you had a Mack truck you brought in?
And a Mack truck I took out, yes. So I was very familiar with it.
What's it like driving a Mack truck? Do you like driving the Macks? Are they good trucks, good driving trucks?
I do like the Macks over all the rest of them, yes.
You know, we asked that question a lot of seasoned drivers, which trucks they like the best. And usually Peterbilt comes out as the Cadillac of trucks. But you like a Mack the best?
The Mack has better pulling power. And to take Mount Eagle and the rest, especially it doesn't labor. And it's also easier on the gas mileage.
A Mack is?
A Mack is, actually.
Yeah, what kind of mileage do you get from a Mack if you're not pulling anything, if you're not pulling a trailer?
If I'm not pulling anything, I'm getting, coming down with the cabin chassis, I was getting 11 miles to the gallon.
That's good. That's really good.
And going, and I don't know how to explain it because I had a CNG going back up to Illinois, so that's a little bit different.
Yeah, I got you. Now, those CNG trucks, I saw in your qualifications, you're CNG qualified and specialty qualified, which we require for garbage trucks. What's your opinion on CNG?
They need more stations. CNG is not hard to operate, but you don't want to run out, so you don't want to miss a station. And that's one thing. If I have to make extra, so if I got to go out a route, that's fine. And a lot of people, when you're doing diesel, you really don't have to go out a route. So you had to get in
Right.
your head that you're doing something a little bit different, and that's you pretty much have to prepare yourself mentally for driving the
Gotcha.
CNG.
Yeah, CNG takes a lot more planning. I mean, because like you were saying, you got to find out where the stations are that have CNG.
And make sure they're open.
Right. Some of them are not 24/7. Not all of them are. Because a lot of them are municipalities or provide CNG for garbage trucks for municipalities. So they work on a different schedule. But have you found a lot of it depends upon where you go, but have you found by and large that CNG is cheaper than diesel?
Yes, most definite.
That's money in your pocket.
Yeah, actually, yeah. And you just have to be careful. It's depending on whether you're going from. I'm sorry, I had to get something out of the air fryer.
Oh, okay. So you're cooking right now.
Okay, that should do it. I'm good. I'm good.
Okay. All
Yeah, I cooked some lemon
right.
pepper chicken wings and some pork chops.
Okay, for the game.
No, for me.
Love it, love it, love it. Now you were talking about CNG is cheaper and it obviously saves you money.
Yes, yes, it really does, and uh, I, I don't mind it. I think the worst thing was doing a right hand drive trash truck. I'm glad it wasn't CNG as well.
Right. Yeah, right hand drive, that's a different animal there, but you're right hand drive qualified, I presume.
Yes.
What's the secret driving a right hand drive garbage truck versus a conventional one?
Staying as far to the right as possible. And I have certain points on the truck that I try to keep on the line, and that'll keep me in my lane, both from the left and the right. And the biggest problems that I guess they're having with a lot of drivers is making a left-hand turn. They don't swing wide enough because you're
Gotcha.
on your right side.
Yeah, we've had some situations where what you're talking about has happened. But how many right hand drive trucks have you driven? You said you've been with us for about a year.
That was the first one I had driven.
No problems.
Nope, didn't have any problems.
That's good. Now we got to be fully transparent and disclose how you ended up on the six-figure trucker brought to you by Norton Transport. Usually, we get our guests; they're recommended by their dispatch teams, and of course, we saw when you came in the office, they absolutely loved you. But the recommendation came from our safety director, Renee Deering, and she was super excited about Alonzo Johnson, particularly because not one, not two, but you've had three clean inspections.
Yes.
Now, tell us how important is that to you as a driver?
It lets me know I'm doing something right. It's very important because I've seen people drive and I've seen them stick the placards in the windows and stuff like that, and that's obstructing your view. And I just said, well, this is what they want. I give them what they say is legal, and to me, that's what I've always been about. No matter whether I was driving an 18 wheeler or driving individual, I've also driven um, four ways a lot for another company, but everything was always had to be by the book. And that kept
Gotcha.
me out of trouble. and it kept me from
Right.
being when you get pulled over and you're always on the good side of the law, and they end up being more your friends than they are being a cop.
Okay. Walk us through what you do to achieve a clean inspection. What kind of things do you do to make sure you're going to pass with a clean inspection?
First of all, every morning, if it's a long trip or even when before I start, a proper pre-trip. Make sure that's one thing. Make sure all the windows are, all the mirrors are adjusted because that plays a big part when you're driving down the road. Keeping or staying in your lane and making sure, like I said, the license plate and the placards are all visible and in the right spots. Because a lot of the vehicles we drive are brand new. There's not going to be a lot of problems, but there can be problems. Making sure your fluid levels, like I said, a proper pre-trip. I found things wrong with brand new vehicles, so that would have put me out of service if I hit the road and I had got stopped.
Gotcha. And also, I guess you check for the fire extinguisher and the triangles.
I've been told different things on that, but I do check for that. The fire extinguishers, the triangles, and I'm hoping the majority of them have also first aid kits in them. So I kind of look for all
Right.
of that when I'm in there, and I will ask at the place where I'm picking up if something's missing, even though they told me I can run without it. I was like, I'm not feeling comfortable. Do you have any that can be put in here, even for temporary status?
I got you. Are they usually cooperative with that?
Yes.
Gotcha. I mean, they understand it's their investment. It's a big piece of equipment, and safety first.
Correct, because most of the vehicles I drive, most of them are, except for like the cabin chassis, they're going to be at least 230,000 and above as far as the price of each unit. So I try to put myself in their shoes. If that was my piece of equipment, 230,000 or $300,000, I think I would want the best quality driver I could get, and I try to provide that for them.
Well, we certainly believe at Norton Transport you fit that qualification as the best drivers out there, one of the best drivers out there. And I wanted to ask you, you've been with us for roughly a year.
Yes.
Now, what's your experience prior to that? What you mentioned four ways,
Yeah, I used to work for another company, and I did deck. I did deck vehicles, and I have a lot. I've had about 4 years of undecking vehicles, whether it's just regular chain hoist, where manual or electric, uh, using tow trucks, or I've done it all. And
right?
but that's what I had done before.
I mean, if you've done a four way, that's like the major leagues of truck driving.
Yeah, all my friends would get three ways, and they will always they only offer me four ways, and
That says a lot for your ability.
and I could undeck a four-way faster than they could do a three-way, and
That's impressive. That's very
safely. So I just try to be good at whatever I do. I was always taught, even if you sweep a floor, if that's what you did for a living, be the best floor sweeper that you can be.
That's great. That is great. Um, Having that experience as a four way driver, like we were talking about, that's kind of like the major leagues. What kind of, I guess, kind of support does it give you for driving singles?
Sometimes it can be confusing because you're still looking for that back to wiggle more than what it does because you're driving a single. So it kind of keeps you, uh, but then you realize, hey, I have a shorter vehicle. I can get into more places. I can do things. I can actually back up because you can't back up a four way.
Right.
So it makes life a lot easier when you're driving singles. And excuse me, you try your best. to just adhere to the rules of the road. I don't try to drive faster just because I do, because this is not my equipment, first of all. And that's
Right.
how I have always treated, whether it's a two-way, three-way, four-way, or a single, it's all going to get treated the same way.
Gotcha. Now, I've asked this question of many drivers. I don't want to catch you off guard, but either driving four ways, your other jobs, or with us, what's the craziest thing you've seen on the road?
Uh, the craziest thing I've seen on the road was actually I took a utility vehicle with Norton from St. Joe, Missouri,
Right?
down to Arizona, and it kind of went the back way. And I drove through this rest area, and there had to be 10 trucks wrecked or pushed over. When I got up that
Oh, my.
morning, and I went right past them, and they were pushed up into the back. I don't know what happened, but I had never in my life, as many years as I've driven trucks, seen anything like that.
10 tractor trucks, tractor
It was
semis.
yes, in a rest area.
Oh, my goodness.
They were
That's
in
one
a
of those
rest
things.
area, and on the side, well, you know how they park going into a rest area.
Right.
Some of them were parked going into the rest area, and some of them were actually have been parked for the night in the rest area. How that happened, I still don't know, and I was not going to stick around to find out.
I got you. Now you see Alonzo up and moving about. We kind of caught him in the middle of a cooking session here, and we're sorry about that. How's the cooking going?
Oh,
Are
I'm
you
stopped for right now. I'll do the rest of it later.
okay? Okay,
I just got up and took it out so it wouldn't burn.
I got you. I got you. Thank you for taking time with us, Alonzo. Wanted to ask you this final question. Now that we've centered down on your driving experience, for someone who's considering going into Driveaway, what would your counsel be? Your advice be to them as far as things they should consider?
Know what you're doing it for. If you actually have the time. I One of my biggest things were I don't have, like I said, my youngest child is 35, so I don't have kids at home. I don't have a
Mm-hmm.
wife at home, so I can get out there and run. Um, if you have responsibilities at home, it's kind of hard to do, or you want to stay close to home because you're an independent contractor. You can take time off when you need, if you need to be home for your kids' graduation or something like that. You can take that time off. And driving a drive away is great for if you have other things going on, then you can work when you want to work and where you want to work. And like in the winter times, I will not take nothing going to the West Coast because that's just my preference in the winter time. But I
Mm-hmm.
it's but if you work for a company, it's a lot of times you have no choice.
Right. When
So
you're forced
eh,
dispatch.
yeah, when you force dispatch, that's what it is, force dispatch. So
I got you.
I just think it's great if you can. Well, for me, it's it, I would tell the person that wants to get into this, it could be a great thing. Just know what you want to do, have a plan. If you don't have a plan, then you're just going to be out here, and that's how people lose money.
I got you. Those are great words of advice from Alonzo Johnson, who joined us here on the Six Figure Trucker. Now, Alonzo, we hope that we can talk with you next week because we caught you right there in the middle of cooking, and I understand that's a passion of yours. But let's get on that next week.
Okay,
All right, thank you, Alonzo.
you're welcome. Thank you for having me.
Six Figure Trucker is brought to you by Norton Transport. Norton Transport is a drive-away trucking company that customers can rely on. It offers excellent independent contract driving opportunities to professional, courteous, and qualified drivers that can provide the kind of service we deliver. If you're interested in learning more about Norton or just want to subscribe to the show, check out 6-figuretrucker.com. That's 6-figuretrucker.com.